2025 NFL offseason previews, 32 teams' needs, free agents, draft picks, salary cap space, and more. Let's be honest, there's no such thing as an offseason in the NFL. With the 2024 season now behind us and the Philadelphia Eagles crowned as Super Bowl champions, the league has officially turned its attention to reloading and retooling for 2025. Across the board, all 32 NFL teams face a critical set of questions as they prepare for another grueling season. Who can dethrone the reigning champs? How will teams address their top needs, from free agents to draft picks and salary cap constraints? And which players will be changing uniforms as franchises look to reinvent themselves for another shot at the championship parade? In this comprehensive preview, we break down key aspects for every NFL franchise, examining team needs, priority free agents, salary cap space, potential cuts, draft targets, and even the players who could move the fantasy needle. We'll also explore where quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold might land, as both are expected to change teams. Beyond QBs, several star players are rumored to be on the move. Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett and San Francisco 49ers receiver Deebo Samuel have requested trades, while Los Angeles Rams receiver Cooper Kupp is also likely to be dealt. Additionally, major contract negotiations are underway, including an expected massive payday for 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy and a potentially tense standoff between the Dallas Cowboys and star pass rusher Micah Parsons. Below is a detailed look at the offseason outlook for each NFL division and team heading into 2025. AFC East. Buffalo Bills. The Bills continue to build around star quarterback Josh Allen. One often cited argument in favor of Allen as the MVP was the challenge of building a competitive team around him. Now, the Bills face a pivotal question. Do they need to upgrade further to support Allen's talent? Or is it time to address other deficiencies? Improving the offensive line and adding depth at wide receiver could be key steps. Miami Dolphins. Despite a respectable season led by Tua Tagovailoa, questions about consistency and the overall team culture under head coach Mike McDaniel persist. The Dolphins need to decide whether to bolster their supporting cast, perhaps investing in a reliable pass catcher or a dynamic playmaker, to truly compete for the AFC East title. Cap space may allow for one or two strategic free agent moves, but the front office must act decisively. New England Patriots. With the arrival of promising quarterback Drake May, the Patriots are poised to retool around their new signal caller. Their offseason priorities include not only drafting well with the 4th overall pick but also exploiting significant salary cap space to add talent on both sides of the ball. Expect moves in the defensive backfield and a push to create a more dynamic offense. New York Jets. After a dismal season, the Jets are in full rebuild mode. The organization, led by Aaron Glenn, faces tough decisions regarding its quarterback situation, especially in light of the Rodgers saga, and must look to the draft and free agency to secure a future signal caller. The Jets' offseason could involve trading draft capital or even accepting a veteran as a bridge until a young quarterback can be groomed. AFC North. Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens had high hopes for Lamar Jackson to repeat MVP-level performances. Coupled with Derrick Henry's strong first half and a retooled defense, Baltimore remains in contention but missed the mark. For 2025, the focus will be on finding the missing pieces, whether that means a reliable offensive line or more depth at receiver, to push the Ravens all the way to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati Bengals. The 2024 season was a lost opportunity for the Bengals, squandering a year in Joe Burrow's prime. Rebuilding around Burrow is a must, with an emphasis on bolstering both the offensive line and the wide receiver group. In free agency, Cincinnati may look to add proven talent to complement their young core, while also leveraging draft picks to shore up the roster. Cleveland Browns. The Browns face one of the most chaotic quarterback situations in recent memory, casting a long shadow over their offseason plans. With an uncertain QB future and defensive star Myles Garrett itching for a move, Cleveland must address multiple issues. The cap is tight, and significant changes may be necessary, whether through trades or draft gambles, to turn the tide in a challenging AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are in dire need of a quarterback upgrade. With the limited prospects available in free agency or the draft, their number 21 pick may not yield a star. Pittsburgh will have to weigh the risk of trying to find a true difference maker. Outside of the QB spot, the Steelers have a solid roster. But the quarterback question could define their offseason strategy. AFC South. Houston Texans. The Texans still have the upper hand in the AFC South. But to take the next step, they must execute smart moves in free agency. By addressing key gaps in their roster, especially on offense and defense, the Texans have the potential to make a deeper playoff run. The focus is on retaining young talent and adding veterans who can provide stability. Indianapolis Colts. The Colts' main concerns revolve around the development of quarterback Anthony Richardson and a defense that underperformed last season. Their offseason will likely prioritize drafting playmakers and addressing defensive shortcomings, with an eye toward unlocking the full potential of their current roster. Jacksonville Jaguars. Despite high expectations, the Jaguars are still grappling with multiple offseason questions, most notably how to get quarterback Trevor Lawrence back on track. With the number 5 pick in the draft, Jacksonville has an opportunity to address defensive issues immediately. The coaching staff and front office must also decide whether to shake up the offensive scheme to better suit Lawrence's talents. Tennessee Titans. The Titans, blessed with the number 1 overall pick, face immense pressure to secure a top-tier quarterback. Even in a class perceived as weak, the pressure to deliver is undeniable. Expect Tennessee to make a bold selection, focusing on a QB who can be molded into a franchise cornerstone while addressing secondary needs throughout the roster. AFC West. Kansas City Chiefs. After a heartbreaking Super Bowl loss, the Chiefs need to shore up the protection around Patrick Mahomes. While Mahomes remains the unquestioned leader, the offseason will likely focus on enhancing the offensive line and bolstering depth across the roster. The Chiefs' culture of excellence means they'll continue making bold moves, even if a few adjustments are needed. Denver Broncos. Denver's priority is clear: further the development of quarterback Bo Nix. With a mix of veteran presence and youthful talent, the Broncos aim to construct a more reliable offense. In the draft, look for moves that add both speed and stability to a team eager to break into title contention. Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders have struggled to find a stable quarterback in recent years, and this offseason cannot come without a significant investment at the position. Whether through free agency or a bold trade, the Raiders must address their QB issues to remain competitive in a division that is rapidly evolving. Los Angeles Chargers. Though the Chargers' finish last season left something to be desired, they are in a favorable position this offseason. With ample resources and a well-balanced roster, the Chargers are primed to bounce back. Key moves on both sides of the ball will be crucial to solidify their status as perennial contenders. NFC East. Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys' offseason will be defined by their pursuit of stability at the quarterback position and resolving lingering issues with star players. After delays in finalizing deals with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys now face the added pressure of settling the future of Micah Parsons, whose standoff could have major implications for the team's defensive schemes. New York Giants. The Giants made waves last year with their draft selection at wide receiver. And now, with Malik Nabers poised to be a breakout star, the focus shifts to finding the right quarterback to lead the offense. A cohesive unit in New York is essential for long-term success, and the Giants will be looking to balance veteran presence with promising young talent. Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles appear to have one of the most balanced rosters in the NFL, featuring relatively young stars locked into long-term contracts, with a focus on maintaining roster continuity and continuing their competitive run. Philadelphia's offseason will center on minor tweaks rather than major overhauls. Their strategy has proven effective, and the Eagles are widely regarded as a team built for the long haul. Washington Commanders. Washington's top priorities are protecting and adding firepower around quarterback Jayden Daniels. The Commanders must address both offensive and defensive needs to become a more complete package, with several options in free agency and a draft class that could provide key pieces. The Commanders face a challenging but potentially rewarding offseason. NFC North. Chicago Bears. After a rocky first season with Caleb Williams, the Bears are looking to turn things around quickly. with significant salary cap space and a new head coach in Ben Johnson. Chicago is poised to make bold moves to improve both offense and defense. Draft capital will play a crucial role in retooling the roster for immediate impact. Detroit Lions. Keeping talent will be paramount for Detroit as they aim to capitalize on their promising young players. With generous cap space at their disposal, the Lions have the flexibility to sign key free agents and potentially extend current contracts to maintain continuity. Their offseason moves will be critical to building a team that can compete at a high level. Green Bay Packers. The Packers' main goal this offseason is to bolster the team around quarterback Jordan Love. Improving the supporting cast, both on offense and defense, will be vital if Green Bay hopes to transition from a rebuilding phase to championship contention. Strategic draft picks and smart free agent signings could be the catalyst for a new era in Green Bay. Minnesota Vikings. Despite some injuries and a limp finish to the season, the future in Minneapolis remains bright. The Vikings are expected to leverage both the draft and free agency to maintain depth and build a roster that can challenge the top teams in the NFC. With an eye on the long term, Minnesota's offseason plan is all about sustained growth and improved performance. NFC South. Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons face a dual challenge in the offseason: addressing a long-term quarterback issue and managing a less-than-ideal financial situation. Outside of their problematic QB contract, Atlanta's roster has solid pieces that can be built upon. Strategic signings and smart use of draft capital will be essential to turning their fortunes around. Carolina Panthers. For the Panthers, one of the biggest offseason challenges is establishing Bryce Young as the definitive starting quarterback. With clarity at the QB position, Carolina can shift its focus to other areas, such as improving the offensive line and adding depth to the defense. A clear, long-term plan at quarterback will allow the Panthers to concentrate on building a balanced, competitive team. New Orleans Saints. The Saints need to make significant changes this offseason, and they're already feeling the pressure. With a roster that underperformed last season, New Orleans must identify key areas for improvement, be it on offense, defense, or both. The challenge for the Saints will be to make bold moves quickly to catch up with their rivals and re-establish themselves as playoff contenders. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers enjoyed a strong 2024 draft and already have a solid foundation. Reinvigorating Baker Mayfield's career and adding the right pieces around him will be central to Tampa Bay's plan. With a balanced roster and promising prospects, the Bucs are in a favorable position to build on their recent successes and make another deep playoff run. NFC West. Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals' offense showed marked improvement last season, and they plan to bring back most of those pieces in 2025. The challenge for Arizona will be to maintain consistency and continue to refine their system, ensuring that their enhanced offensive output translates to wins on the field. Strategic moves in free agency and the draft could further bolster their lineup and provide the competitive edge needed. Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are facing a transitional period, with at least one franchise legend on his way out. This offseason, Los Angeles may see further changes as the Rams look to revamp their roster. Balancing veteran leadership with emerging talent will be key to ensuring that the Rams can remain competitive in a rapidly evolving NFC West. San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are at a crossroads as they look to return to contention under a new deal with quarterback Brock Purdy. How big will Purdy's extension be? And can the 49ers structure the team to maximize his potential? Their offseason strategy will likely involve making savvy moves in both free agency and the draft to shore up the roster, ensuring that they can consistently challenge for a championship. Seattle Seahawks. While the Seahawks don't need a complete rebuild, they must figure out how to overcome the hurdles that have held them back recently. Identifying key areas for improvement, whether on defense or at the quarterback position, will be critical. With smart offseason decisions, the Seahawks can push past their current limitations and elevate their overall performance. Final thoughts. As we embark on the 2025 NFL offseason, every team is facing its own unique challenges and opportunities. From addressing critical roster needs and navigating free agency to leveraging draft capital and managing salary cap space, no franchise is standing still. The offseason is a time of constant motion, a never-ending free-for-all where players can change uniforms. New stars emerge, and strategies are redefined. For quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold, the market remains wide open, and where they end up could reshape the landscape of the league. Meanwhile, high-profile names like Myles Garrett, Deebo Samuel, and Cooper Kupp may find themselves in new territories as teams look to optimize their rosters. And in contract negotiations, massive paydays and tense standoffs, like those involving Brock Purdy and Micah Parsons, could set the tone for how teams approach spending in the future. In the end, the 2025 NFL offseason promises to be a fascinating blend of strategy, risk, and opportunity. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual observer, there's no shortage of storylines to follow as each of the 32 teams gears up for another unpredictable season. The next few months will be critical in determining which franchises emerge as perennial contenders and which ones are left scrambling to catch up. If you enjoyed this in-depth preview of the 2025 NFL offseason, from team needs to free agent targets, draft strategies, and salary cap puzzles, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more exclusive NFL updates and analysis. And ring the notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Thank you for tuning in. And here's to an exhilarating, ever-changing offseason in the NFL. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you in the next video as we continue to break down the biggest stories in football.